The problem that Luka has, guys, maybe it's just me, but damn, he got to stop all this complaining, Monica. Every time they grabbing me, they looked at me funny. He tried to trip me.
They looked at me.
And he's falling on the ground. He's not getting back, and they're laying the ball up on the other end. And a lot of times it's his guy. Chet Holmgren hit a three because he's bull jiving laying down on the court. I know he's beat up. But, bro, you can't put just the team in a situation where they're playing 5-on-4. Luka bears he's the best player on this team. He finished third in the MVP voting. He has to bear the majority of the responsibility, especially when you're at home and you had a 14-point lead and you had an 9-point lead in the fourth quarter. You and Kyrie need to deliver this team home and should have been up 3-1, headed back to OKC with a chance to turn the lights out of the building.
Wow, look at this now. Shannon Sharpe, longtime fan of Luka Doncic, has finally called out his constant complaining to NBA officials. Whoa, I did not expect this to come out of Shannon Sharpe's mouth. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Shannon Sharpe putting Luka Doncic on blast for complaining about NBA officials. The Thunder Mavericks series is currently tied at 2-2 after the Mavericks failed to close out a win in Game 4 on their home floor. Although Luka Doncic has had a sensational season for the Mavericks, he has struggled to play efficient basketball throughout this series against the Thunder. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. Do you think Luka Doncic complains too much to NBA officials? As much as I love Luka Doncic and how he plays the game of basketball, I'm going to have to say yes to this question. Of course, Luka Doncic complains too much to NBA officials. Now, do I think Luka Doncic was the original creator of complaining to NBA officials? Of course not. That title belongs to LeBron James in terms of being the original creator of complaining to NBA refs. And then, of course, you had James Harden, who did that all the time. In fact, he was one of the main players relying on that during his prime. So I blame LeBron James and James Harden for why players love to complain to officials all the time. And obviously, Luka Doncic has now fallen into that territory, which is actually a shame because Luka Doncic is a great basketball player and he doesn't need to rely on those antics in order to get more free throws called in this way. We all know that Luka Doncic is already awesome at drawing free throws and getting to his spots really efficiently. In fact, Luka Doncic is actually one of my favorite basketball players in general. I like watching Luka play and how he can break down a defense. He has really high basketball IQ, but we all know that Luka Doncic has not really played well throughout this playoff series against the OKC Thunder, and a big reason why Luka Doncic has struggled throughout this series is because he's not 100% healthy. We all see that Luka Doncic is hurting when he's playing on the basketball court. But at the end of the day, though, you can't really blame injuries if you're playing on the basketball court. If you're healthy enough to be playing on the basketball court, then you can't really use injuries as an excuse. The real reason why Luka Doncic has been getting locked down throughout this series has been because of the defense of Lu Dort. Lu Dort might not necessarily put up the best stats in the world for the OKC Thunder, but he is a dog on the defensive end of the floor. That guy has done a tremendous job guarding Luka Doncic whenever he has guarded him, and Luka Doncic has struggled to get to his spots, which in turn has caused him to miss open shots that he would normally make, and Luka Doncic missed a free throw late in Game 4. Obviously, Luka Doncic has got to knock down those free throws to tie the game for the Dallas Mavericks, because if they tie the game, who knows, maybe they get a stop on the OKC Thunder, and then maybe they win the game in overtime or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, Luka Doncic didn't hit the first free throw. That's why the Dallas Mavericks ended up losing Game 4. And of course, Luka Doncic wasn't the only player that missed free throws for the Dallas Mavericks. In fact, you could say that the entire Dallas Mavericks team choked in the fourth quarter in Game 4 of the NBA playoffs in the second round against the OKC Thunder because of missed free throws. You look how Derrick Lively didn't do a good job hitting his free throws as well, but we all know that Lively is a liability from the free throw line. Obviously, you look at how Lively went 1 of 3 from the free throw line in Game 4, and of course, Luka Doncic went 4 of 6 from the free throw line. That's not good enough. The Dallas Mavericks missed 11 free throws in the ball game in Game 4 of the NBA playoffs against the OKC Thunder. That's not good enough. And especially against a team like the Thunder, who had the #1 seed in a stacked Western Conference. You're going to have to knock down your free throws. Free throws win and lose teams games, and obviously the Dallas Mavericks lost Game 4 because of missed free throws. The Dallas Mavericks lost by 4 points against the OKC Thunder, and they missed 11 free throws. Had the Dallas Mavericks made 5 more free throws, they would be up 3-1 in this series. But we all know that the Dallas Mavericks are not the most complete team out there. We know that this Mavericks team is flawed. There's a reason why they're the #5 seed in the Western Conference, and that's because their roster really isn't that great in general. Yes, I know PJ Washington has been balling out for the Dallas Mavericks. Speaking of PJ Washington, though, the guy has basically broken out in this year's playoffs, and he has turned into Black Kevin Love in terms of how he has been able to hit the 3-ball really efficiently, especially for a power forward. I've been really impressed with the effort PJ Washington has been given on the defensive end of the floor as well. He has been a really good basketball player for the Dallas Mavericks throughout the series. In fact, one could argue that PJ Washington has been the best player on the Dallas Mavericks in the series. If somebody told me after 4 games that PJ Washington was balling out the way that he was while Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving was struggling offensively and they were tied 2-2, I would definitely be pretty ecstatic if I was a Mavericks fan, because we all know what Luka Doncic is capable of. As far as what Shannon Sharpe was saying about Luka Doncic needing to take accountability for the struggles of the Dallas Mavericks, look, I agree with Shannon Sharpe completely, and I'm surprised that Shannon Sharpe actually took this position, because we all know that Shannon Sharpe loves Luka Doncic, and we all know that he also loves LeBron James. Now, when you hear him talk about LeBron James, what does he like to do? He likes to blame everybody but the star players for not showing up on the Los Angeles Lakers. This guy is willing to go as far as to blame Teron Prince for not playing a career game as a role player instead of throwing accountability at LeBron James's hands. But for Luka Doncic, he actually held Luka Doncic accountable and says that he needs to play better. Who really cares if the role players are struggling? Because you're the superstar, you're supposed to bring it home, and you're supposed to find a way to win this series for the Dallas Mavericks if you're the superstar that you claim to be, which of course Shannon Sharpe is right. I just wish Shannon Sharpe used that logic more often than not when talking about LeBron James. But I will give him credit for his take on Luka Doncic. I thought his take on Luka Doncic was sound. I thought he was fundamentally smart, and I thought that he made a lot of good points when talking about the Dallas Mavericks. Now, do I think the series is over for the Dallas Mavericks? Of course not. Anybody that's saying that, oh, the OKC Thunder, they're going to win this series in 6 games easily, you're wrong, because the Dallas Mavericks are still a good basketball team. They're pretty good on the defensive end of the floor. I know Luka Doncic doesn't really play defense, but let's talk about the rest of the Dallas Mavericks team. We all know that Derrick Jones Jr., really good defensive player. We all know that PJ Washington, good defensive player. We all know that Kyrie Irving, he's been giving a lot of effort on the defensive end of the floor as well. Something I never thought I would be saying about Kyrie Irving, but Kyrie Irving, to his credit, has been playing elite defense for the Dallas Mavericks, which in turn has actually kept the scores pretty low. And I think part of the reason why Kyrie Irving has been struggling offensively is because of the effort that he's been giving out on defense. He looks so tired out there when playing offense because he's been giving out so much effort on the defensive end of the floor. He's done a great job guarding Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to the best of his abilities. Yes, I know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had an awesome game 4 and that he scored 30+ points, but you know what? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the best players in the world. He probably should have won the MVP this year. He was my MVP pick to win the award, but it is what it is. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, we all know that he's an absolute baller and that he can make the shots when it matters most. You look at how the Dallas Mavericks, they need to also knock down the free throws as well. I don't like that Luka Doncic complains about the refs in general. I don't think the referees are the reasons why the Dallas Mavericks are tied in this series at 2-2. I think the reason why the Dallas Mavericks are tied in this series is because they keep missing free throws. You can't miss 11 free throws in a playoff game and expect to win that. If you miss 11 free throws, I mean, of course, you're probably going to lose the game. You probably should have gotten blown out if we're being honest with ourselves. But because the Dallas Mavericks have a really good defense, they were able to keep the game low scoring. And guess what? The Dallas Mavericks didn't get blown out of their home floor. But the good news for them is they got 3 more chances to win 2 games and advance to the Western Conference Finals. Do I believe the Dallas Mavericks will be able to do it? I believe they're going to do so. I think the series is going to go 7 games. I said before the series started that the series would be a long series and that things could go either way. I thought the OKC Thunder would be a tough test for the Dallas Mavericks, but that they will ultimately win the series. Now, do I think the Mavericks win Game 5 at OKC? I have high doubts about that. They already stole Game 2 at OKC, and we all know that the OKC Thunder are a really good team at home, and they've got good weapons. They've got Lou Dort, who's one of the best perimeter defenders in all of basketball. They've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who probably should have won the MVP. Then they've got Chet Holmgren, a guy that I was really high on a couple of years ago in the draft. He's been playing good basketball for the OKC Thunder. Of course, Jalen Williams has also been playing pretty good on both ends of the floor as well. He has been the ultimate scorer on offense, and being able to give high effort on the defensive end of the floor. And of course, you look at how the bench of the OKC Thunder, it hasn't been the greatest in the world, but they've been competent when they've been asked to score points on the basketball floor and being able to play good defense. You look at how the OKC Thunder, they've got a pretty deep team. And if you're the Dallas Mavericks, you got to hope that PJ Washington continues to play good basketball and that he can continue to keep knocking down those three-point shots, because if he does, then the Dallas Mavericks are going to be fine offensively. I believe Kyrie Irving will eventually get his offensive game going. He's too good of a player to keep sucking offensively. And of course, Luka Doncic has got to start knocking down some three-point shots. I don't understand why Luka Doncic has gotten significantly worse in the playoffs when shooting the three ball, because Luka Doncic was actually very good shooting the three ball in the regular season, but Luka Doncic in the postseason has just not been good from three whatsoever. I believe that number will change at some point, and Luka Doncic is still going to be able to rebound the basketball effectively, as well as making other teammates around him better. We all know that Luka Doncic has an amazing ability to read defenses and to elevate his teammates around him. As far as Shannon Sharpe holding Luka Doncic accountable, again, I got to give Shannon Sharpe credit where credit is due. I'm glad Shannon Sharpe held him accountable, and considering the fact that he is a Luka Doncic fan, it was refreshing to see Shannon Sharpe give objective analysis when talking about Luka Doncic. And quite frankly, I wish Luka Doncic would stop complaining about NBA refs as well. That's the biggest criticism I have for Luka Doncic. But as far as how the series is going to play out, I think the OKC Thunder, they're going to win Game 5, but ultimately the Dallas Mavericks are going to win this series in 7 games due to the greatness of Luka Doncic and an eventual explosion of Kyrie Irving on offense. So that is why I stand by my take on Luka Doncic being too much of a complainer to NBA officials. However, I still think Luka Doncic will find a way to elevate his game when it matters most, as the Mavs will end up beating the Thunder in 7 games for the series. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.